This is a concerted effort. This is a concerted effort. Politics of personal destruction. Fuck you, John Podesta.
Whatever the hell they're doing.
What's in your closet, John Podesta? Big Podesta? Big Soros? Do you want us to play these games? Because we're playing...
Don't be afraid to go into enemy territory. What do you mean by that?
I can't tell you how many people tell me, don't go onto the Bill Maher show.
Take it right to them.
Oh,
it's the best.
Intelligentsia crowd that intimidates black people who are conservative, saying, "Hey, man, you have no idea what it's like."
Let me say this,
Look, that's why I became conservative.
You think black people are intimidated from being conservative?
Yeah, because the Democratic Party has provided such largesse and wonderment
let me just
to
say
the Democratic Party.
Although I defend the black studies professors, my PhD is in religion from Princeton. That's number one. Number two, I teach sociology, so I'm not in black studies right now, though it's a great reality. Here's my point. That kind of, let me tell you what you just did. You used a cold language, the black studies people, right? In other words,
then I'm racist.
No, I didn't say you're racist. That's not what I said.
No, then I'm a racist.
Let me finish my point. I'm able to speak articulately. What I'm saying to you is that you try to marginalize African American studies professors as somehow innately incapable of critical reasoning that attends to every other discipline in the American Academy. Number two, what you're suggesting is that because we would be critical of Clarence Thomas, you suggest that white supremacy as a notion can't inhabit black skin. Many people have suggested that you could be a black person articulating some very powerful notions against black people. You could be a ventriloquist as a black-skinned person saying ideas that are corruptive of a tradition of black response. Number three, let me say this in closing. Look, man, those of us who are victims of white supremacy, social injustice, economic inequality, and racism...
President Obama, baby.
Let me tell you what. One black man in public housing in D.C. does not solve the problems of...
...is the worst thing you can call a person in this country. There are tons of black people in this country who are Republicans who support this man.
They're not tons.
Okay, next show, please have on a black conservative...
But what you're saying is if I actually think that he has racist tendencies...
Right. What is it? Give me the evidence.
He sang Barack the Magic Negro.
That was
bone through a nose.
That was a liberal columnist from Los Angeles Times by the name of David Aronson.
Bone through the nose. Look, here's my point. This is what is wearying about the whole process. Let's play ball fairly. We know that there are code words. You can't use 60 Styles racism.
I don't know that there are code words.
60 Styles racism for 2000
I don't know that there are
Styles.
code words.
Let's move on because I do have a theme for this show.
Okay.
And that theme...
Unity.
And that theme is...
I live in West Los Angeles. I live amid, the Hollywood rubble. And when I do a Bill Maher show and I go to Starbucks the next morning and the barista says, "I saw you on TV last night, and I didn't like how the audience was booing you before you finished your sentences." And I thought that you made an interesting point. And what the left has stood for with political correctness is to try and get those with whom they disagree to shut up. And the Tea Party movement and Sarah Palin and Michelle Bachmann and Alan West and all the people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, "You're going to call us racist? You're going to call us potential Timothy McVeighs? F you."
Makes you happy to be a conservative, doesn't it? But to combat all that hate, from time to time, I will visit Breitbart's Twitter timeline, and I will say, "You are appreciated for standing up against media bias." I'll tell him he is respected for not letting race baiters and poverty pimps silence his conservative message. And on his birthday, I even wished him 43 liberals to chew up and digest just for fun. I do these things to let him know he's not alone and that he's needed in case another Congressman Anthony decides to show his wiener. But By far, my most favorite Breitbart moment came and should be a wake-up call to all of us. If you can't sell freedom, then you suck. I'd like to introduce my friend, Andrew Breitbart.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to tell you right now, I want to end it on a media bashing note because that will uplift me like a Dionne Warwick final rendition. We're watching you to play the race card, MSNBC. We saw how you cynically placed the Reverend Sharpton in a position of absurdist power. This is Dadaism. I learned that in college, that they would allow for this guy to have a show. This is Dadaism. It's freaky. It's Andy Kaufman. It doesn't make sense unless you understand what they're doing. This is going to be the dog whistle election cycle. They tested him in 2011, so he and his pal Toure and that punk Tim Jacob Wise and Ed and Maddow can sit there and call everyone who's Caucasian racist. I heard it. He used is instead of are. He's a racist. That's a dog whistle. Ignore it when Congressman Rand does it against Allen West. No more. We're going to go after you. I bought a dog whistle. I bought a dog whistle factory, and I'm giving you dog whistles. And we're going to listen to every word that comes out of your mouth, and we're going to hold you to the same standard that you hold to us, which is an impossible one, and you're going to have a hell of a time in 2012 because America has finally awoken to your Saul Alinsky bullshit tactics, and we're coming to get you. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, in the year 2004, the radical left basically did a coup d'etat of the Democratic Party and basically kicked a person that 4 years before was called the standard bearer of decency in the Democratic Party, and that was Joe Lieberman. That was over. That was the end of the Democratic Party, and after the 2010 election cycle, the DLC went under. It's over. There's no such thing as a moderate Democrat. And so what do we get now in Barack Obama? Well, I've got videos, by the way. This election, we're going to vet him. I've got videos. This election, we're going to vet him from his college days to show you why racial division and class warfare are central to what Hope and Change was sold in 2008. The videos are going to come out. The narrative is going to come out that Barack Obama met a bunch of silver ponytails back in the 1980s, like Bill and Bernadine Dorn, who, equally radical, said one day we're going to have the presidency, and the rest of us slept while they plotted and they plotted and they plotted, and they oversaw hundreds of millions of dollars in the Annenberg Challenge, and they had real money from real capitalists who gave it on to their children and their children's children, and then they become communists. We got to work on that. We got to work on that. That's a parenthesis. Barack Obama is a radical. We should not be afraid to say that. Okay?
Good evening, folks, and welcome to InfoWars Nightly News on this Thursday, March the 1st edition, with me, your host, Paul Joseph Watson. And straight to our top headline tonight out of The Telegraph: conservative US blogger Andrew Breitbart dies. The conservative American journalist, author, and blogger Andrew Breitbart died in Los Angeles of natural causes on Thursday morning, according to an announcement posted on his Big Journalism website. He was 43 years old.